Afternoon, evening, morning, or whatever it is. Welcome to the show 3 C's of Me, where I talk about conviction, cognition, and coffee. Over. If you clicked on the title of this video, the answer is, I don't know. There you have it. If you want more information, stick around, and I'll go into more detail, but thumbs up if you want a short answer to the question in the title without having to watch 15 minutes of video. What a concept, right? Okay, so the title of this video is, why do people hate Jordan Peterson? And like I said, I don't know. I'm not sure. But I do think we should just overall stop hating people. I'm going to talk about things a little bit more in depth, though, so stay tuned. Jordan Peterson probably needs no introduction, especially if you did click on the title because of his name. So chances are you know who he is, but if you don't know who he is, he's a professor of psychology and he's a clinical psychologist, and he's gotten really famous because of lots of different reasons. Mainly the most important one, though, is his refusal to use compelled speech in the context of gender pronouns. Many people have heard of Jordan, I'm sure, but why is he so polarizing? That's kind of the question. Do you remember that scene from Captain America Civil War where Captain America is basically like, times when the whole world tells you that you need to move, it's your duty to plant your feet and say, no, you move. That's not a direct quote, but you know what I'm saying here. You get the point. I think Jordan Peterson has done this. The whole world is telling him to do this, and he said, no. And I think he did, and he does do this. When the government started introducing compelled speech, he put his foot down and said, no, I'm not going to do this. And as I think we all should. We should all have a voice. We should all be able to use speech freely, even if it's speech we don't agree with, even if it causes some conflict. Free speech is free speech, and there should be some restrictions, but not the kind of restrictions like not using someone's gender pronoun is a hate crime kind of stuff. That's a little extreme to me, too. So I'll stand with anyone who takes a stand against compelled speech, particularly compelled speech from a governmental perspective, one that has legislation behind it, that you can be put in jail for saying the wrong thing kind of thing. So there's more to it, though. Peterson can also say things that can, to some people, come across blunt, especially during lectures, if you watch his YouTube lectures from when he's teaching. But other times, though, he's not blunt. He goes around in circles almost. And it's those points that I and many people are kind of like, just answer the question. Many people, I think, call him squirmy when he does this because he's not just answering the question. But I don't think he wants to be pinned down about these topics. Maybe he's being squirmy, but I think more accurately is that he's just trying to address a complex topic and do it in a way that's intelligent and fair most of the time. He's not always fair. Sometimes he says some things that are weird, but many people are also not fair to him as well. Many people take what he says out of context. Is he expected to always be fair if other people aren't taking him seriously or other people aren't being fair to him? It's kind of one-sided in that perspective. So Peterson is, in my opinion, he's done a phenomenal job during this whole rise to fame thing. He's intelligent, he's patient, and to me, it seems like he does his best to discuss the topic at hand and not resort to name-calling or belittling of other people, etc., because he doesn't share their perspective or they don't share his perspective. I'm not a sold-out fan of his by any means. There are some things that he says that I'm like, There are some things I think he could handle better. He's not perfect or flawless by any means, but then nobody is. One thing that I don't hear from him, though, that a lot of people like, I don't know, Cenk Unger, he wants TYT, the Young Turks. People like him, pretty biased, pretty inflammatory, not really apologetic about it. Call names, and if you don't share his perspective, he can come across in my opinion, really hateful, and to anyone who doesn't think like he thinks and share his perspective. And he's very inflammatory, and he's, it works for him though, I guess. He's made he's made it work. His show is got lots of subscribers and stuff like that, and he's generating response. I guess the more inflammatory you are, the bigger your views on YouTube get, I guess, which is probably my problem because I'm not inflammatory. But Jordan Peterson is just that right little bit of inflammatory to get people's attention. When I listen to some people, I feel attacked or belittled because of what I think or feel, my perspective. But Jordan Peterson, I think, delivers his ideas in a way that is not belittling or is not attacking because you don't share his perspective. If I had to choose between listening to someone like from the Young Turks or Jordan Peterson, I would always choose Jordan Peterson because I feel like he's not talking down to anyone, and he's really trying to get to the heart of a matter or a situation or whatever. And he's not out there to just incite people. At least I don't think so. And he's really just trying to figure out how to get to the bottom of whatever he's trying to get to the bottom of. Now, if people get offended on the way there, I don't think that was what he was intending to do. I don't think that that's his intent, though I could be wrong. So why do people hate him? I still don't really know. There's probably a couple of reasons. People who don't like him seem to be really vocal about not liking him, whereas the people that do like him, I kind of just do the things that he says. They like him and they support him. They give him money. There's all those types of things. And then there are those that are like adamant fans of him that will defend him no matter what he does or says, which I don't really think I don't know that he would even want people doing that. I think he would want everyone to be able to come to a conclusion of their own by thinking critically about it and examining all the evidence and stuff like that. So, what do you think? Do you like Jordan Peterson? Do you not like him? Do you think he's spewing hate or whatever? Leave your thoughts about that down in the comment section. My perspective on the whole thing is I think Jordan Peterson's on a journey to discover truth. And it seems like he's trying to get as close to truth as possible. Anyone trying to do that is going to stumble into topics that are uncomfortable or sort of difficult and complicated. And a lot of people don't like him because they think when he gets to these complicated topics, he just starts spewing nonsense. Like, he's trying to sound smart, but he's not really as smart as he thinks he is or is trying to sound. I've tried to look at what he says through this perspective. I've tried to kind of come at it from that viewpoint and really analyze what he's saying as if like, okay, is he just a dumb person trying to sound smart? Is he not as smart as he thinks he is? Is he trying to sound smarter than he is, etc.? And there's a problem kind of with that when I actually examine what he's saying, because like I've listened to people that are obviously not that intelligent, and they couldn't even try to be more intelligent. They can't sound intelligent because they don't know how to use complicated words in the right context, and you can easily pick that out. And then there's people that aren't very intelligent, but they're very good orators, and they can weave you into this like spell of sorts where you kind of just like go along with them. And then when you analyze what they're saying, there's not anything there. They spend the whole 5 minutes to make a single point or idea, but it's very flowery language. Sophistry, I think, is what the Greeks would call it. I don't think Jordan is one of those people, because if you just take a couple of things that he says and analyze just a couple of sentences, you find a lot of information packed into those sentences. And I think that it's a mark of an intelligent person to be as succinct as you can in a short amount of time. And I think Jordan is trying to cram as much information as he can into a little bit of space, which can, be very difficult sometimes. And I do think he is very intelligent, and I don't think that he's actually trying to be more intelligent than he is. I think of it as like when Stephen Hawking or Neil deGrasse Tyson or another physicist or somebody starts to talk. They don't use big complicated astrophysical terms, and if they do, they try and back up and break it down for you. I think that's the reason why like Bill Nye or Neil deGrasse Tyson are so popular, is because they can take crazy complicated astrophysical things and help you understand it as a common person. But by no means does that mean that they're not intelligent, and they could go all astrophysical and like bring out all the math and totally dumbfound you in a moment if they wanted to. But I think the point of it is, the reason why they become famous is they are able to articulate things that are complicated in a very uncomplicated manner. And if you can do that, I think that is a sign of intelligence, not you just trying to sound smarter than you really are. And I don't think that Jordan is a dumb person trying to sound smart, but that's just my perspective. Now, he gets into things that are very complicated, and they're not just black and white topics. And we live in a world that's full of color. Don't you think every now and then we're going to stumble onto a topic or a conversation that's not black and white, but it's actually like multiple shades of hues and of different types of color? And maybe not everything is just going to be yes or no or easy to figure out. And in those types of conversations, it's really hard to just get down to like, what are you actually saying, Jordan? And people try to pin him down, and he's like, so they'll say like, so you're saying this? And he's like, that's not what I said. And a big part of his fame came out of an interview where a person was trying to do this repeatedly. So you're saying, and he was like, no, that's not what I'm saying. Why don't you listen to what I'm actually saying? And I think that's a quality that a lot of people, that there's a trap in, by when you go in and people say like, so you're saying this, and you say, yeah, and then they're like, oh, so, and he just refuses to be trapped by that, which is also remarkably intelligent in my mind, because I often get trapped into, so you're saying, and I'm like, well, yeah, basically, and then they take it and go a totally different direction with it. So I like the fact that he's not just agreeing to the whole like, so what you're saying is thing, and I think that opens up a whole new realm for conversation. So this is the how to think, not what to think section coming up here. I don't want to tell you what to think. I want to be able to help you think, learn how to think. And this whole process is just me trying to help people learn how to think. So ask some questions for yourself about the person Jordan. What do you see in him? What is he wanting to do? What is he trying to accomplish? What's he all about? What is he actually saying? Are you taking in the whole context of the situation? Are you getting all the information you can, all the evidence possible before coming to a conclusion? Is what he says reasonable or logical? Is it consistent over time? You are listening to him and something offends you. Maybe you should park it and think about it. And think about what is offending you. Why is it offensive? Is being offensive actually going to contribute to fixing the problem? Or is there a problem? Is there a problem that you're interested in fixing? Are you interested in actually addressing the real problems? Are you just addicted to feeling like a victim? Part of thinking is examining yourself in addition to examining everything around you. Pride and self-deprecation, those are things that are blocking the ability to think clearly and rationally and logically. If you think you know it all, or you think that you can't know anything, or anything like that, or if you think that you're always a victim, those things are not going to help you think clearly and rationally. So I'll suggest something here that, is something that Jordan writes about in his book, 12 Rules of Life. And then basically kind of get your affairs together before going out and being critical of other people. Clean your room before you criticize someone else's room. Put your life together as best you can before going out and trying to save the world. Because if you struggle with the small things, you will struggle with the big things. Also, be consistent yourself. Everyone loved Killmonger from the Black Panther, right? He was probably the best Marvel villain to date. Debatable, but most people think that. But Killmonger undermined his whole point and platform by being a hypocrite. He became the thing that he hated so much. And it really detracts from your point if you become the thing that you don't want other people to be. Now, it is a fallacy to critique a person's argument because of their character. Like, just because someone's a hypocrite doesn't mean they don't have a valid argument. But you do lose respect when you are a hypocrite. So if you don't want people to be hateful, then you should not be hateful. If you want people to help change the world, you should help change the world, kind of thing like this. Your character should be in accordance with your thinking and your feelings and your logic and your reason. So don't fall into the fallacy that, like, just because you don't say people shouldn't lie, and then you do lie sometimes, that doesn't negate the fact that people shouldn't lie. But if you think that you shouldn't lie, it strengthens your case if you don't lie. Just some tips and tricks when it comes to critical thinking. Hey, if you like this video, leave a comment, leave a like. If you don't like this video, leave a dislike. Anything helps. Be sure, if you want to see more content, to subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss an upload. So, until I see you again, be reasonable, people.